I have to go with my timer because I'm just OCD like that. I may go like 1 second over and then I totally freak out. So what I'd like to do is talk to a different group. I love you people, love you all, but we got to talk to some of the people who are in this group. Certainly we've got some people here from Langley, Virginia, from the Hoover building, the FBI building. You know you're there. Thank you for helping to fill out the crowd. But what I'd like to say, and it's going to go somewhere, is to the people who are doing this stuff. And I'm going to say two words that pops into everybody's mind: bomb shelter, right? When you say they're doing this, most people are going to say, yeah, but they're not scared because they got bomb shelters and they figured that they'll blow us all up and they'll go to their bomb shelters and they'll all be good, right? Which I think there's probably some validity. Most people think kind of, raise your hand. You kind of have that feeling they got bomb shelters and maybe that's part of the plan. Okay, so to them, I'd like to throw this out to you. Just think about the people. You know you're watching it right now. Eventually, let's just say your plan goes down and you end up in the bomb shelter. Because right now, what are they afraid of? They're afraid that the little people will all wake up and rise up against their totalitarian ways and take over things, right? Well, let's just say they get what they want. They end up in a bomb shelter. So there they are in the bomb shelter. Now, in a bomb shelter, you're a billionaire, you're Bill Gates or somebody, you're a senator, you're whatever. You're in the bomb shelter, you're living good. But in a bomb shelter, and being who you are, you got to have cooks, and you got to have security, and you got to have people that do things for you, right? Little nobodies that clean up and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, when you were out here, you were worried about all the littles rising up against you. But in that bomb shelter, and I know you're watching, at some point, the security people and the cleaning people will start to think, and they'll start to meet, and they'll start to say, you know what? They can't really pay us because there ain't no banks to cash our checks. And if we did, what would we spend them on? We can't go outside because everything's new. It's kind of boring. We're eating powdered eggs. We're drinking our urine that's been purified over and over. That's where we're going to do the rest of our lives. And at some point, they'll realize, wait a minute. In the other luxurious side of this bomb shelter, we got a bunch of billionaires and senators and all these people telling us what to do. But there ain't no such thing as billionaires and senators anymore because all that's behind us. So in reality, in the same way that the rules-based international order means might makes right, I can do what I want to do because I got a bigger military, right? Fangs and claws, back to the days when whoever had the biggest fangs and claws ruled the forest, right? At some point, they're going to realize we're security. We got guns. And we're chefs and cooks. We got knives. And on the other side of this bomb shelter is a bunch of billionaires who are out of shape and they ain't got no weapons. And your biggest fear in this world that we were in, if you get in that bomb shelter, at some point your biggest fear will come true there. And they'll wake up and say, wait a minute, we got the guns, we got the knives, they can't pay us, and they'll come over and have a little talk with you. And they will say, we've come to realize that you guys aren't senators, you're not billionaires. They'll come to realize that everybody's the same, except they got guns and knives and you don't. That's going to be the thing. That the rules-based international order in the bomb shelter is simply going to be the people with the weapons and the power, and the most people are going to have the power. And at that point, you will meet your fate. At that point, the thing that you feared that people here, that the average, regular, everyday, working class person would wake up one day and would rise up against you, at that point in your bomb shelter, that is bound to happen. There's no way that doesn't happen. There's no way that people sit in a bomb shelter for 6 months, 8 months, or a year and don't start to kind of philosophize and realize the power dynamics, and you are going to lose in the worst possible way. And they're going to realize that all of their family is dead, that everything they know is gone, and you're the one that did it. So I say to the neocons and the people in Congress and the people in power who are acting in such a reckless manner with our lives, thinking that maybe somehow they can escape and they can go into the bomb shelter. First of all, what kind of life is that? living in a bomb shelter until you die at some point because you can't go outside of it. But secondly, inside that bomb shelter, the dynamics that you fear have to come to fruition sooner rather than later. It would be your worst nightmare to be in a bomb shelter. Imagine that. You're a bunch of rich people in a bomb shelter, and on the other side of the bomb shelter is a bunch of people that you screwed over and killed their families and destroyed everything that's dear to them, and they wake up and realize it. I say that to them, just maybe it'll scare them enough with reality that they'll think about not doing it. But that particular little story should be a story for us. Let's not wait for the bomb shelter. The fact of the matter of it is, if we ever come to the reality that there's more of us than there are of them, far more of us than there are of them, we ever come to the reality that we need to stop arguing over Trump or over this guy's a libertarian, this guy's a socialist, this person's a trans person, this person's a whatever. That the things that they bring up to keep us arguing amongst themselves, right? Ourselves. That they always have it's Putin or it's Xi or it's somebody and it's Assad. They always have a boogeyman 7,000 miles away that we're supposed to be scared of. And as long as we're afraid of the boogeyman 7,000 miles away, we won't look at Capitol Hill. We won't go right up to Wall Street. We won't look at the people who are responsible for sending our jobs overseas. And doing all the things they've done to make our lives a living hell, and now bringing us to the very doorstep of nuclear disaster. So in the same way that my story of the bomb shelter is a simple one, sooner or later the dynamics are going to be obvious. Let's get the dynamics obvious now, and let's make sure that we understand, look, in that bomb shelter, the cooks and the security people, and you're going to have technicians. The technicians are going to be much better trained. They're going to have highly educated. You're going to have various groups, but at some point they're all going to come together and realize the smallest group in this bomb shelter are the people that caused all the problems. Perhaps we should address that. They might want to read something about the Donner Pass. I think that may be a consideration. But the bottom line is this: that's where we are now. The people that are causing all the problem is the smallest group, the tiniest fraction of 1%. There's too many of us. Stop obeying, stop doing what you're told, stop accepting their rules. And I'm not saying just run out like a crazy person and streak down the street naked. I'm saying act in a way that gets something done, act uniformly. But we have the power, we have the most people by far, and if we act with force and we act with integrity, it's where we're not violent, we're not doing the things that we tell them not to do. Last, I'll say this, and this sums it all up. There's only one way to peace if you want the world to be peaceful. There's only one way to be peaceful. To be peaceful. The only way to bring peace to the world is to be peaceful. So everyone, when you leave here, ask yourself in your personal life, are you being peaceful? Are you being the person that you want your town, your village, your society, your country to be? So thanks a lot, everybody. Keep up the good work. Yeah.